you ever been told that you're too sensitive? I know a number of people who have been told that, especially when they were children, that they were being too sensitive. And what people meant by that was that they were offended too easily. Today, I want to talk about sensitivity in a different way, as in fact a quality of love, something that is actually a very powerful, a very strong, and a very freeing quality. So let me explain what I mean. There is a difference, you see, as far as I'm concerned, between being sensitive to other people's needs, their weaknesses, their particular moments of frailty, of feeling powerless, and even to their control dramas. And there's a difference between being sensitive to all of that and being susceptible to all of that. Because you see, for me, sensitivity is a moment-to-moment awareness of what is happening. And with such awareness, it takes us into a field, a boundless field of possibilities within which creative solutions to situations where we may be in conflict with another person can be resolved. Creative solutions can be realized in those kinds of situations. Sensitivity does not enter an interaction in a relationship with a scripted answer. Instead, it enters with a loving and responsive attitude. And especially importantly, it speaks to the power and the truth within you and within me. You know, that is what sensitivity does. It's an awareness, a very fine and very acute awareness. Susceptibility, on the other hand, that speaks to your weakness and to mine. And it's not seeking out the higher qualities of love, of openness, of power, of acceptance, and of trust in either of us. Instead, it's an ego, a classic ego manipulation that seeks to keep both you and me weak. I cannot expect you to rise to your higher self and the qualities of your higher self while I encourage or enable you, as we like to speak of it these days, while I encourage your weaker qualities, your not so loving qualities. I want to refer to a quote from Joanie Mitchell, in case you don't know who she is. She was a very famous singer and songwriter, I think especially in the 60s. And she said, you could write a song about some kind of emotional problem you are having, but it would not be a good song in my eyes until it went through a period of sensitivity to a moment of clarity. Without that moment of clarity to contribute to the song, it's just complaining. I think that's just so cool, so cool. Because when we allow ourselves that sensitivity, it does lead us to a moment of clarity. You see, being sensitive to you means that I recognize and I accept that maybe you're not ready to see things differently. You may not be ready for a change. You may not be ready to face some truths that your ego is resisting. And by the same token, I might be in a similar situation where I'm not ready to make changes or to face certain truths. It does not mean that I pretend that I don't feel or see these things. And so by pretending that I don't see them, that I then try my best to compensate for them by supporting your actions, all my actions, yours or mine, that are driven by fear rather than by truth and love. But what sensitivity does mean is that while I don't judge you, I'm willing to be truthful to you in expressing what feels right and good to me. It also means that I don't demand that you accept what I say or do. I offer you my words and my actions, my thoughts and my choices, and I offer them in a space of love. And I'm not concerned about the outcome. I'm not concerned or attached to the outcome, because I trust, I have complete faith that when I do something out of love, it cannot but result in a good outcome. And in a conflict, when we come into this space of sensitivity, this open and unbounded, powerful space, it's okay if I don't agree with you, because more important than agreeing with you, I honor you as an equal and precious being. And so I remain sensitive and therefore accepting of where you are and the choices that you make. So how does this compare with susceptibility? Well, when I am susceptible, I'm clearly not in my natural state of power, am I? I'm not in my natural state of truth and love. On the contrary, I'm actually in the state of fear. And often I don't even realize it. In a sense, when I'm in a state of fear, I am on autopilot. I'm not present. And when I'm in autopilot, I rely on my tried and tested fear-scripted reactions and words. I'm afraid of offending you. I'm afraid of pushing you away. I'm afraid that you will pick up your ball, so to speak, and go home. I'm afraid that you won't like me anymore. I'm afraid that you won't love me anymore. I'm afraid that our relationship will be tested and the outcome will not be what I want. And as a result of all that fear, I'm more likely to feel defensive and act defensively. Because you see, I know it's difficult for us to accept, but the truth is that when I am susceptible, I place my fears and my insecurities about our relationship and the outcomes of my fears, my insecurities, I place all of that above my natural, intuitive desire to be honest, to be loving, to be peaceful, and to be free. But of course, my ego is never going to admit that. Instead, it's going to try and convince me that, I have to be nice. It's not about being honest. It's more important that I'm nice. Because you see, more than anything else, I want to be liked, because if I'm not liked, how am I going to feel good about myself? After all, I've been conditioned, haven't I, from an early age to associate displeasing someone, whether it was a parent or a sibling or a teacher or a friend. I've associated displeasing someone to not feeling good about myself. And wasn't I told that I was responsible for how they felt? You know, statements like, you make me mad, you make me so worried, you make me sad, you make me feel like I'm a bad person. And let's be honest, haven't we said similar things to others? The truth, of course, is that nobody makes me feel anything. I do that all by myself. Or should I say my ego does it all by itself. And once I get this, once I really get this, I realize that it's entirely up to me how I respond to anything and what thoughts and feelings I choose to give my attention to. And if you've ever experienced this, you'll know how powerful it is, how liberating it is. Because it puts me on a whole different trajectory, where I enter into this boundless field of infinite possibilities, where, all problems, so-called problems and conflicts and grievances can be lovingly resolved, and in a way that serves the good of all. And I just want to say a little bit about this, doing anything with the intention that it serves the good of all, because when we have that intention, it comes out of a deep sensitivity and love. I'm sensitive to the desire that whatever comes about in a way that serves the good of all, not just my own good or the good of a select few. So I remain aware, and I remain in a space of allowing that to happen. I don't know exactly what shape and form it might take, but I have that intention, and I keep my mind and open to the possibility of that happening, of that manifesting. Because, most of us have within us this belief that when someone gains, others must lose. And that is very much an expression of susceptibility rather than sensitivity. The two are in polar opposites, really. So when I act with sensitivity rather than susceptibility, contrary to what we've learned to expect, I'm actually acting with strength, with kindness, with love, with openness, with power, with freedom. So I wonder what you think about all of that, what your own experiences have led you to, what conclusions they've led to. And it would be wonderful if you could share that in the comments. And for now, I wish you much love, and may your heart beat with the rhythms of peace. Hey everybody, I know it's so easy to forget, I do it myself so often, but please, if you did like this video, do hit the like button, do subscribe, do share, and most of all, please leave a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you so much.